College, I met a man who got a gospel tract, and it sat on his dresser for 5 years. And then he read it and got saved. And then sadly, I went with that man at Bible college to go talk to the man, backslidden, who gave him the sticker, gave him the gospel tract. Years later. But there's a power in the Word of God. And the devil just wants to silence you and I and keep you from getting out of your box and being a blessing. Now, I don't think the Great Commission should ever be easy. I think we should get beheaded for it. Or be willing to.
That's right, yes, sir.
I don't think fulfilling the Great Commission should be fun. But you're looking at one guy who has more fun than anyone on the planet, saying to people, is that a smartphone? Come on. I have something that could make it smarter. Do you believe I have something that could make your smartphone smarter? And so, what's that?
All smartphones are dumb phones.
Yeah, it's going to be a dumb phone. And so I hand that out, and 95 to 97 to 98% of the time. Last week, even a Jehovah's Witness took one that can't take anything. And I said, as he was smoking a cigarette with his long hair, saying he's a Jehovah's Witness, I said, you're not a very good one. And I said, would you please call the number on the back? And he says, I want to talk. I want to talk. We have no idea how people are hurting and what people are going through and what people are thinking, but if we get out of our box and just hand somebody a little gospel sticker that has salvation and sanctification in it, what a blessing and what a power can be had in that for the glory of God. So this is taking the culture to the cross. And we take the culture to the cross with, on the front side, a continual decision. And I'll not spend a lot of time on this, but I will set no wicked thing before mine eye. Has to be a continual decision in a saved person or a God-revering person's life. I will set no wicked thing before mine eye. And I wonder if I could be so bold. Now I can pick on my brother. Let's pick on my brother. Okay, I was going to pick on the pastor, but I'm going to be so nice because videotaping there. And so, Bob, I want to come up and I want to just see if you have a problem. Would you come up? I want to see if Bob has a problem with lust. Now, there's a lust tester, okay? So get ready for this, and we're going to find out if Bob has a problem with lust. Are you ready for this? Are you ready for this test? Look at that look on his face. Oh, see, I told you I have a lot of fun with this. Okay. All right. I would like you, Bob, to just close your eyes, okay, and hold out your right hand toward me. Okay,
right.
just yeah.
Your right hand.
Yeah. Bob might have other problems. We're going to ask about this problem, okay? Are you ready? So hold it out toward me, toward me.
You.
Yeah, toward me. Now stretch it out, stretch it out. Good. Very good. Now we're going to find this out here, okay? Are you ready? Yep, he's got a problem. Go ahead. Okay. Now, if you got a pulse. Are you awake today? Are you awake? You got a pulse? You got a problem? No pulse? I think we're okay. We graduated. We're in heaven, where nothing that defiles shall enter in. But in this life, we've got a pulse. We need a continual decision. A continual decision. We are, you are, I are, one step away from disaster. One click away from disaster. Pastor shot himself last week. Too afraid of the shame, of the confession. It is a compelling to stay. The only way is that we must hate the work of them that turn aside. we got to learn to hate the work of them that turn aside. We don't hate them. We love the sinner, but we hate the sin. I remember in 1982, I was in New Jersey literally chasing after teenagers. I don't know what was possessing me. I was trying to become a youth pastor. And I thought, when I came, they actually ran. And I came to do the Bible study, and the sister and the mom were there, but the boy and his friends, they ran. They literally ran, and I ran after them. One time the boy didn't run. He was in the house. I was coming for a Bible study, and I was trying to sit down at the kitchen table with the mother and with the daughter, and the young man said something, and I'll never forget the words. Myrna, come on. And they were watching TV. Come on in here. Myrna, you got to see the rape scene. That young man had a goal in his life of becoming a TV producer. That was his goal in his life. I have no idea where that young man is today. But I'll never forget those words. But can I ask you, and I don't know what percent, I don't want to know what percent of the WWW, World Wide Wicked Web, I think it's 4 W's. I don't want to know what percent is completely wicked with the efforts, with the work, hard, tedious, insidious work of them that turn aside. And we've got to hate it. We've got to hate it when it invades our morality, it invades our families, and it invades our decency, and it invades, and I believe, preacher, it sucks the life out of the church. I believe it sucks the life out of the church, for no one can preach with power, live with power, and be passionate for God when his passions are in the mire and the clay and muddied up. They don't work together. We've got to only do one thing. I hate the work of them that turn aside. And then we've got to be careful in our determination. It shall not stick. It shall not cleave. It shall not cleave unto me. We'll say a little bit more about this in the morning service, but I'd like to conclude with this idea of the TechNoSin Challenge explained. And we've talked about sanctification here for a saved person and salvation as it has the gospel on the back. But this TechNoSin Evangelism applied could be, and I'd like you to think about a possible key. A possible key. Now, I'm going to ask you, what's your most important key in your life? Which is it? What's your most important key? Is it your car key, your shed key, your safe deposit box key? I'm talking about a key. Okay? Which key is it? I've got a key here that goes to a house in Minnesota, in Silver Bay, Minnesota. I've got to deliver. This is the key to my Subi 2. Subi 2 has 190,000 miles going on 400. And this is my little car, Subaru, 1999. Okay, and so I put this key on something, and I'd like to ask you, what's the key to the reason, the purpose why you're still on this planet, sir? Why has God still kept you here as a saved, born-again child of God? I would like the plan of salvation where you ask the Lord Jesus to save you, and he saves you and takes you to heaven right away. Rapture plan immediate. Now, Jesus didn't say that. He had that plan. He said, I pray not that they would come out of the world, but that they would be kept from the evil in the world. And so why are we here? Paul says, I'm in a strait betwixt two. And he says, to be absent is to be with Christ, which is far better. But to be with you is more what? More needful. More needful. And so I've asked that people would, and I'm asking you, if you have a plan or a better plan, tell me about it. But how many of you have not witnessed because you didn't have a gospel tract? And so, the lost soul would just continue on his way to hell. And so I have something that I would not force upon anyone. Ask the preacher if I could at least offer them. But it's just a little keychain and a little coin purse. And in this coin purse I have, as I was asked to speak here just before I came, I I made up some stickers, and believe me, just before I came, like the plane was taking off and I was printing out stickers and cutting them out in the plane and on the way, and with my mother here with IBC, RL, website, and a 715 phone number. You ever hear that exchange? It's your church's phone number. And so maybe there would be a key to your evangelism where you would just be led of God, not of me, but of God, to take a coin purse and to put some gospel tracts. And I like this one because it just goes in there with my favorite key in my pocket. And without even getting it out of the pocket, I can draw like a gospel gun and have it there ready. Maybe you'd be the person who would, and I only have one of these, but maybe you'd be the one who'd say, I'm going to put that sticker, and I thought I had one of these, and I still think I have one of these, and I do have one of these, on a little business card holder. And go ask that thrift store if we could just simply restock a little gospel invitation there. And it would become the key to my fulfilling the Great Commission. So this is called TechNoSin Evangelism in my book. It doesn't mean you have to wear a t-shirt, okay, like the TechNoSin buddy, and I'm not selling these or promoting these, but it's an idea of something where you could say something to someone. And you go up and you just say, is that a smartphone? Oh, they're so proud of their smartphones. Oh, man. If they got the latest and the greatest, they are so happy to tell you it is not a dumb phone, flip phone, okay? It is a smartphone, okay? And then you say, do you believe I have something in my hand that can make your smartphone smarter? And so we just say something like that, and they'll look at me and they'll give me all kinds of things. And one person took the sticker in his hand, and he said to me, he said to me, oh boy, I don't want to show that one just yet. He said to me, he says, that depends on what evil is. I will set no wicked thing before mine eye. That depends on who's defining what's wicked. And I looked at this tattooed, filled young man, and I had compassion. And I just didn't want to say just anything. God says what's evil. That's what I wanted to say. And so I just said it in a different way. And I said, you're right. It's a kind of a discussion of what is evil. But when I'm looking over the shoulder, here's what I said to him. Of a kid watching and playing a video game that's skateboarding so realistic that you think you could even skateboard not being involved on this video game. And they come up with this skateboard and you're twisting and turning and sliding with it and stopping with it when they see an old man with a cane and picking up the skateboard and bashing his head in and the blood squirting out and he skates away with his points. We've crossed the line, the kid said. Yeah, I think so. Okay. But what a culture we live in. But as I left, fire in the hole. And I don't know where it went. The fire in the hole. You could say to a young man, and you got to pick on a very young man like Daniel, are you married? Your future mother-in-law sent me. Now, don't you want to know who she is? He's not ready to even find out who she is. I don't know who she is. But your future mother-in-law might have sent me today, and I'd like to give you this, okay? Or you could say to a family with children, and you could say to this young lady here, I'm involved with a project that studies the effects of the internet on children. And if it's a young father, I would say to him, it studies the effects of the internet on children and those who act like children, okay? And I got some kids. I love my kids. Those are my grandkids. And the picture that I wanted to show you had the belly of my middle daughter with my 9th grandchild. And I am the GPA with a high tech. That's what they call me. GPA. Okay? And that's my email address. gpabecker@gmail.com. And it's high tech and it's up to date and all that. And GPA does do and GPA does the blanket and GPA's the hero when he's there. But bring out an iPad and I don't even exist. They're all buried in the screens. And the screens are raising our children. We call it a great babysitter. Be careful. Be careful. Be careful. I always say, well, I don't always say, but I say to people, you might be allergic to this. And you'll know very quickly that they're saying, okay, I got something in my hand, you know. I say, you may be allergic to this, and I'll with a smile, tell them it's a God thing, okay? It's a God thing, you know. And then I usually add, you can write it down, it won't kill you, and if it does, only once. Okay? Just smile. And I put a little bit of salt or a little bit of intrigue or a little bit of something in their mind that would say, this is something maybe you should check out later. And who knows where that kid in that crowd would not ever say, I'm going to read this Bible verse there. But into the pocket it goes. And at night, when they're done clicking elsewhere, or saturated in sin, who knows that they might click on this and hear the gospel. What would they hear? Well, you'd hear things like I'll share in the morning service. But I want to close this service with this picture here. It's Lehigh County Prison. I do a Bible study in there, and every time I get out of jail, I say, I call my wife, I said, hey, I just got out of jail. And maybe you've had to deal with, maybe you've heard of, maybe you've had to counsel some of the crazy situations. And I want to be respectful to the crowd. And this is basically an adult Sunday school class, but you know, I have to counsel the airplane pilot. Successful, rich, flying to Europe and selling planes and flying back. Now in Lehigh County Prison. What's he doing there? Well, his self-acclaimed 17, not 18, 17-year-old daughter sabotaged his computer with her self-acclaimed porn star video. He was not guilty, N-O-T, not guilty. He thought for sure at the federal trial, because he would not take a plea bargain, because he was not guilty, she would tell the truth and exonerate him. She did not. She buried him. He was sentenced to I'm not sure how many years in federal prison. In federal prison, he writes to me saying he has stage 4 cancer and he will die in prison. The stepdaughter wants to let him out, but then he added these chilling words at the end of his explanation to me as I had ministered to him. He said, I would never have been convicted if it had not been for the circumstantial evidences. I clicked here, I must have clicked here. I saw this, I must have saw that. The 18-year-old was on, the 17-year-old must have been next. And he was convicted, buried by the circumstantial evidences. I have to counsel the crazy situations where I shudder to even share this, but you know, some 14-year-old, can you imagine? 14-year-old young lady. On the web anonymously with a different identification. You can't imagine that would happen, can you? That is our world. That is our world. What's she doing with this different identification? She's trying to solicit her father for immorality to see if he would be faithful to mom. And you try to counsel that twisted, warped, sad situation. And this is the tip of the iceberg. And in California, 2 teenagers are on the railroad tracks, sitting down. A train is coming. They get off the railroad tracks, but she goes back for her forgotten smartphone and they do her funeral. And the power and the pull of the screen. And the addiction of it. And I'm only skimming the surface of what's going on right before our eyes. And so I offer you the TechNoSin Challenge. With the power of the Word of God, because it's the only thing that's going to help. And in personal, continual decision with a disdain, it shall not cleave unto me. I hate the work of them that turn aside, so that we might give out the gospel. Let's pray together. Father, we thank you for this time. Thank you for this topic, and ask that it would be a blessing, Lord, to this church and to this community and beyond, Lord, as we just take the opportunity that our culture affords and share the gospel. In Jesus' name. I've printed out